Hey guys, welcome back to the Chaotic Kids channel, where I, Michelle, am making fantasies come true one story at a time. And today we're going to be talking about this 160 day challenge that I am planning on working on. Hello, first of all. Let's do a little bit of background on who I am as a person. So my name is Michelle. I am somebody who suffers with some sort of dissociative disorder, resulting in me having multiple different parts, multiple different alters, whatever you want to call them. Basically, when it comes to parts and alters, it's basically my mind is kind of fractured, and my mind ended up kind of not forming, but my identity of who I am split off into these different personalities, these different parts, these different alters, to kind of help cope with different aspects of my life and things that trigger me. The different parts will come out. I best reflect this on having a giant puzzle, there's all these different parts of me that then come up to make different puzzle pieces that when they come together, they make the whole identity of Michelle. And that's the best way I can describe it. And with this, I probably have I did count a while ago, but that number has changed. Back then it was 25 people. I think it's increased to 30. I'm not entirely sure. Again, haven't done the counting to do it. But I have 20 to 30 different parts, and 4 of the parts are actually different pen names in my system. So I am an author. I have published those books up there, which are part of the Bugstopia PD series that my pen name Shelley writes. Shelley is a middle grade children's chapter book author who writes stories for our nieces and nephews. But there's another pen name that is primarily this challenge is going to be focused on her. So the pen name is Grace. She writes young adult Christian fiction young adult Christian fiction novels that are more of a coming of age storyline, that have to deal with characters with mental health disorders, or disorders at best, and mental health challenges kind of thing. So each of the characters I'm going to be following, I've decided it's going to be I previously tried to write this book, JJ's project, back in November until pretty much July. I almost forgot what month it is. Oh my gosh, it's August. Anyways, so I started writing this book actually before November, but in November I was like, okay, I'm gonna write this book that I'm calling JJ's project. I originally had it planned for a 4-act structure, but as I continued to write it, things kept evolving. The story of JJ, who I learned back in pretty much back in December, I was as I was rereading what I had previously written, I was oh my gosh, this character is somebody with something like me, a dissociative disorder, with him having multiple personalities, multiple different parts. And when I realized that, I was this completely changes everything, because I've kind of got to rewrite his backstory in a way, because the childhood I originally had set up for him did not make sense for all of his mental health issues. When it comes to dissociative disorders, it usually revolves around severe childhood neglect, abuse. I can't think of all the words, but it's either neglect or abuse. And what I had was very mild, which I would say I also have mild neglect, but as I've discovered with therapy, I learn more and more about myself. But so with JJ, I was okay, his backstory almost needs to be more severe in a way, which sounds terrible, but I was it needs to be more developed, and more intense, matter-of-factly. But also, as I had continued to write what I originally had for JJ, so from pretty much January until July, I was writing his story, and I was discovering all these small things that I was this needs to happen, and stuff. And the character kept evolving, because I am somebody who's a pantser. And for my pantsing, like, I completely write by the seat of my pants. There's no plan, there's no thought, just writing. And I was like, that works for a little bit, but also at the same point, it kind of doesn't, because I need to have, like, as things evolved, I was like, okay, I have to rewrite Act 1. But I was like, how am I going to rewrite Act 1 while keeping parts of Act 3 the same, you know? And it was just a hot mess. So back pretty much last week, today's the 24th, last week I was like, I need to rewrite JJ. I'm just going to not completely scrap, because when I think of scrap, I mean, that makes me think of delete. But I'm completely starting fresh. I am going to rewrite JJ's project as it should be. And this one I would almost say is kind of like a prequel to the series that I want to write, because I want this book to be part of a series called Moving into Scripture, where the series is focusing on these like 18 different classmates as they go through, I think it was their junior year of high school, and just learning how to kind of be adults while going through these mental health issues. I had ideas for kind of more depression, more anxiety, more almost, I don't remember, like just different varieties of mental health issues. I had anxiety and depression right off the bat. But other disorders, some of them aren't necessarily disorders. They're also just like how they represent themselves and how they want to change, even though they feel very stuck in the structure that they were like born into, kind of thing, like with cliques and stuff. So that is how I wanted this book to continue. But I was like, JJ's story was just off in every aspect, it felt like. So I was like, I needed to rewrite it. So again, last week I was like, okay, I'm going to kind of restart this. And that's kind of where this 160-day challenge came into play, because I was like, I want to sit down and focus on JJ's project, because I want to eventually get this book traditionally published. And I would like to get published by a Catholic publishing house. I have an idea of a publishing house kind of in my mind right now. The only problem I have is, like, I debate on whether this book is really Christian Catholic or if it's more just young, like a young adult novel. But I'm like, this just sets up the world kind of thing, I think. I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like a prequel in a way. But so with this 160-day challenge, I am planning on taking Monday through Friday to write about 1,000 words per day in JJ's project in the morning. I have been setting up this new kind of routine that I'm wanting to do. Basically, I'm wanting to get up from 7 to 9:30, which is my usual time. I want to kind of do like an hour of morning prayer in the morning. Then from like 9 to 11, I want to sit down and write in JJ's project. And then the rest of the day is kind of free to do whatever I want, like obviously eat and relax kind of thing, but also family time, evening writing, afternoon writing, which hopefully will be reflected on a different pen name. And then in the evening, maybe work on a different pen name while I'm working on Christian things, my building my Catholic faith. So I have all these ideas, but for this 160-day challenge, which I will have a playlist for, I'm planning on just focusing on documenting my work with JJ's revamped story. And I'm kind of hoping you guys will stick around for the journey. I don't know when 160 days is going to end from Monday, when I'm only counting them from Monday through Friday. I usually take the weekends off. That's just how I do things. But I'm like, okay, this is the game plan. I'm going to write JJ's project. I've got more of a structured idea on how I'm going to do it. I looked up kind of like plot ideas, story structure for like mental health related books. And I have it kind of set up. Act 1 basically is going to be kind of like setting up his normal everyday life with his initial conflict, like his inciting incident, kind of ending it. Act 2 is going to be kind of how everything is in turmoil. Then the turning point is Act 3. So instead of my what I used to plan for a 4-act structure is now a 3-act structure. I have it planned, if I write 1,000 words a day, or at least try to shoot for 4,500 words a week. then I will get to 100,000 words, which I hope this book is 100,000 words long, but it very well could be. So I'm just preparing for 100,000 words long. And if that's the case, then each act I would like to be around 33,000 words long. So that's kind of how the math is going to turn out. But yeah, basically for this 33-day challenge, for this 160-day challenge, sorry, I was looking at a 33. For this 160-day challenge, I want to finish JJ's project. Like, finish first draft JJ's project. Then send it off to my editor. When I get back from my editor, implement the edits, and then just eventually get beta readers, sensitivity readers, do a couple more rounds of edits, and then send it off to this publishing house that I'm thinking about. This publishing house is, I'll just go a little into detail. This publishing house is actually a Catholic publishing house. This publishing house is also tied in to a convent or a group of sisters, and I would like them to publish this book, and also eventually for me to become a sister for them, just so I can continue to write stories and fall in love with Jesus even more. Because I will say right now, with my whole Jesus journey, I feel as if I want to be, I don't feel as if I want to be closer to God and closer to my prayer life, but yet in everyday life, there's so many distractions, like my phone, my YouTube accounts and stuff. It's just so many distractions, and I want to be more dedicated to my prayer life rather than YouTube. I spend a majority of my day on YouTube, and I'm like, I want to stop that. So maybe with this 160-day challenge, after a while, I'll try to limit my screen time, especially directed towards YouTube. But for right now, I'm just going to focus on writing 4,500 words a week, for 160 days. I can't do the math right now. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking. But I want to do this, and I hope you guys will stick around for the journey. I plan on having day one coming up pretty soon on a YouTube video. So yeah, I hope you guys will stick around for this journey. I hope you guys will enjoy. If you guys are doing similar challenges, like wanting to finish this book by X time, go ahead and tell me down below. And I hope you guys will have a lovely day. And remember to keep making fantasies happen one story at a time, okay? And I'll see you guys later. Bye!